Is there a way to say, we're here with Paul Latislaw today for filling the blank?
We're here with Paul Latislaw. Filling the blank. Sorry, out of my pay grade.
Welcome to the show, Paul. We are so happy to have you. Thank you for having us in your studio. How are you feeling?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Happy to have you. Thank you for coming.
Now, let's get right to it. You grew up between Pennsylvania and California?
Yes.
Okay. Now, those are two very different environments. What was that transition like, essentially from suburbia to the San Fernando Valley?
So the majority of my upbringing was in LA. The other half of my family lived in rural PA, so we were going out there frequently, and eventually sort of ended up migrating the whole family to farmland PA. What the hell was the meat of the question?
That's it.
Yeah.
I just want to know what it was like.
It was very helpful in me being able to set up on this coast because I had an awareness of what weather was like.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're toggling between rural America and winter wonderland in LA.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Do you like country, Paul?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I prefer it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Were you like catching frogs and like tipping cows or whatever?
Not tipping cows. You
Okay.
could not find me doing that. But yes, catching frogs, absolutely.
Okay. Now, you went to an art-focused high school. Do you remember an art class or art teacher that shifted your focus to art?
Yes. Yeah. Her name is Miss Bailey.
Okay.
And she really helped me set a path towards all of this. Before that, it was all theater, which was sort of inherited. Sort of all of my family they're all theater people. I thought that was the only thing that I was capable of doing, that I was supposed to do, and didn't realize the turmoil that came with preparing for an audition. So very grateful for the art world and the solitude of a studio space.
So both your parents did work in entertainment.
Okay.
Your dad worked in audio,
Mm-hmm.
and your mother in makeup and also vocal coaching.
Mm-hmm.
How does that affect your work? I started on it already.
I mean, theater is laced into everything, all of the studio work. So that had an immense impact on me, and still does in my current studio practice. Yeah, it was years of being in rehearsals, just sort of around my family doing their thing, being in audio rooms, doing some of the Foley work for TV shows, being a child voiceover person for random this or that whenever my dad needed it. So,
Is there anywhere we can find your voiceovers?
Sabrina the Teenage Witch. You better fucking believe it. Sorry.
The whole studio just went up for that. Okay, wait, what character in Sabrina are you?
Just a voice. A little voice in the distance. Yeah. It's in a Halloween episode. But.
Fuck yeah. Sorry, everybody. The whole studio just went up for that one. Okay. Now, before that, and before you were helping your dad with that, your parents were both members of a band called The Magic, and they also
Magic
did
If.
The Magic If. Okay, and they did a lot of skits while at San Diego State. Have you ever seen those before?
Oh, yeah, all of them.
Okay.
That was technically before my time, but the whole band would get together and perform songs on weekends. It was a very musical household. So a lot of those skits and those performances were integral in sort of my theater awareness.
Yeah.
That's not a good answer.
No, that's a great answer.
Yeah.
I love the one where your dad is doing the overbearing parent one.
That's not me. That's not me.
That's way too old to be you.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
yeah.
You're young and you're youthful. Look at that forehead.
I know, right?
Yeah. That one really made me laugh. It made me think of my aunts and uncles. Cause I was thinking about it because your work is so theatrical and everything is such a scene that I was like, there's no way that this didn't creep into the work. And it seems like, theater and performance are such a big part of your life.
Yeah, and it's some kind of offshoot of a vaudeville act. It's having it be their show be a series of little skits and broadly funny, but also a little scary, also a little sad. That sort of painted the way that I like to draft the scene work that I do for the stills.
Mm-hmm. And is there like sketching, and what was your planning process for? Is there a script?
There is always some version of an internal script. There's not a lot of sketching that I do. I don't find drawing terribly helpful for my practice. I think it actually just makes me kind of fussy and blocks out potential for me. So I really like to start with some central element that I've imagined, and then as an additive process, building out the wool from there.
Mm-hmm. And so eventually you've talked about how you were sort of East and West Coast, and coming east for college, it was a lot easier. So you attended Sarah Lawerence. Mm-hmm. You went for botany, painting, and child development. Were you majoring in all of those at once?
It's very generous to say that I majored in botany. I took one botany class. I did think that I was going to go that road. Going into undergraduate, it was between going to Sarah Lawerence to pursue art or going to Warren Wilson to become a farmer. And it was a toss-up as to which that would be. It was actually a coin toss that landed me at Sarah Lawerence. So, the botany didn't last long, but it was mostly studio arts and early childhood education.
And did you think you were going to be a teacher?
I considered it. I still consider it. That's something that is still possible for me. But
and do you feel that your very small study of botany helped you with understanding like form and everything, because plants have such beautiful form?
That is a real big stretch.
Today, we're going to take us back to some old school psychic readings. We're going to play with paper fortunes. We made some over the break, and hopefully we're going to look for a brighter future than the overcast day outside. Mm-hmm. Are you ready to get witchy?
You bet.
Okay. Let's get to it. Do you remember how to use these and play with them?
Kinda, yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Color, numbers, and then some fortunes, and we can either write some for each other or for like just general, and then we can maybe get the crew involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's hit it.
What's your tactic? Are you coloring in the whole thing?
I like to write the word because I will forget how to spell. That's my thing. Mm-hmm. Did you make these a lot when you were a kid?
There was definitely a phase.
Would you say this is a teal or a turquoise?
Teal.
Okay, so we're gonna write teal. I used to make these all the time. I feel like one of these told me that I was gay as a kid. I feel like some kid put that in there.
Of course it did.
Yeah, just to tell me what was up. And
by the way,
well, just so you know, I think like everyone, I learned truly on The Sims. And what crafts did you do as a kid?
I used to knit.
Ooh.
Didn't last very long. I did some photo work. A little here, a little there. Mm-hmm. I was distractible.
Do you ever wish you could see the future?
Not even for a second.
Okay.
Do you?
Like sometimes with this show, I wish I could see how much my next budget's gonna be. I think. But I think it'd be super stressful because I'm worried that I would see how I would die, and my hypochondriac.
First thing you would see. That's why we don't do that.
My therapist would be the most angry if I got the ability to see the future. You work with visual aids in inner city arts. Are you trying to give yourself good karma for the future?
No, I'm just trying to do something nice for anybody.
Wow, true do-gooder.
I don't know. It's looking for some way to give back.
This is going to be hard to write on. Okay.
I just wish I did not have to make money at any point and I could just volunteer.
Wow, such a do-gooder.
Such a do-gooder. Do you believe me?
I do actually. So
you're going so much faster than I am.
Here's my thing: is I don't think what I'm writing is legible though.
Wait. One thing per thing?
I like to do
one thing.
You either can do one for the whole thing, or if you're really trying to be crazy, you do one for each side for each number. So it's like, if you say 10, it would be this one. But like, you also can do for 10 and 2 are the same one. It depends. Oh, I didn't realize I did 10 and 2. 10 and 2 when you're driving, everybody. Do you do 10 and 2? Because I do 6.
No, you don't.
I do 6.
6?
I drive like this.
Scary.
Yeah.
I probably do 10 and 2.
Wow, you are such a good driver.
I guess so. Kind of a do-gooder.
Yeah. What kind of vibe are you going for with your fortunes?
So far it's single words.
Single words.
That's
Wow.
still a fortune.
That's a great fortune. It's a wheel of fortune. Oh, that honestly, does Vanna White paint? Can we get Vanna White on the show? Because I always have like a dream of Lucy Liu on the show because she paints. Putting that in the universe. But like, Vanna White's got to paint, right? Can we do a whole Vanna White painting interview? You want to come to that one?
Make it happen? Absolutely.
Okay.
I would love to do this again.
Really? You're
Yeah.
having fun? Okay. I'm glad. Second graders got fucking nothing on us. Eat your heart out, elementary school. Okay. I am prepared. Should I go first, or do you want to go first? For whatever it's called. Not guessing. Seeing into one's future.
I want to go first.
Okay, you want me to, or you want to wait?
I want to.
Okay.
I want you to do the work.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I am about to predict Paul Latislaw's future for the rest of his life.
Okay. Blue.
BLUE.
7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
13.
Ooh, this is the only one I wrote that wasn't about your art career. Keep your hair for life and have a good surgeon.
Aww. Wow.
All right,
Great.
let me show the people, because we were talking about that on the break, how we're all very scared of losing our hair. Yeah, all my other ones were much more wholesome and about your art career.
Yeah.
That was the one I wrote last, of course. You want to go again?
Yes. Teal.
TEAL.
11.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
2.
You will start welding larger skeletons for your pieces.
Oh, that's good.
See, I wrote
Yeah.
very wholesome art ones, except for
Practical.
the one plastic surgery one.
Yeah.
You want to hear the other ones that I
Yeah.
wrote for you? Okay. The other options were you will make a 30-foot artwork. Galleries will constantly knock on your door. You will get a 15,000 square foot studio space. You will get a solo show in the next year. Lottery win, but you properly handle the money.
Oh, good.
You will sell a piece for 7 figures. That was the welding one. Yeah. See, I care about you.
You too. That's so thoughtful. Wow, I feel like a real jerk. Okay.
Okay. Yellow.
ELLOW.
1.
1. Is that 1 or is that none? 1. Yeah.
Yeah. 20.
That was my roll again card, so.
Okay.
Sorry.
Green.
GREEN.
8.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
11.
A rich husband.
Oh, okay. I always approach as the share. I am the rich man, but I'll take that too.
Yeah.
We need investors
A
for
little
the
extra
show.
money, it's good.
Yeah.
You can both be rich.
One of my dreams in life is to Ali Wong someone, where like, you know about that? Where she married this rich man and she had this crazy prenup that was like, you get nothing, he keeps everything. But then while they were married, because her career popped off so hard, she actually started making so much more than him that he, in their divorce, got nothing and she got everything. That is I want to Ali Wong someone. But without the divorce, though.
Yeah. Skip that part.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one more.
Okay. Red.
RED.
2.
1, 2.
Did I hit 8 already?
I don't think so.
Okay, 8.
Penthouse.
Okay. I'll take a penthouse. That's great. Okay. We feel
This
fortunate.
might not have been specific,
No,
points about your career, but they allude to a successful career, so you're welcome.
I will say, I did write all of those last night and memorize them.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
And I put you on the spot.
Walk into my studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put you on the
Put
spot.
me on the spot.
Uh-huh. That is kind
You
of
get
the whole point of the
penthouse,
show.
and then you get roll again, because I couldn't think of another one to do.
That's what the hair one was. That I couldn't think of anything else. So I was like, what's something what I think any man wants? Oh, hair for life.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, raging success.
Now, with your child development knowledge, your scenes have a childlike quality to them.
Mm-hmm.
And would you say that where would that whimsical aspect come from? Does the child development influence it at all?
No. Most of the childlike atmosphere comes from the references that I'm pulling, which are often early animation. So yeah, that's kind of where that lives.
And you've been cited saying that you loved early stop motion animation.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that start? When that really come in?
That and early stop motion and standard animation sort of was entirely what I was raised upon. It informed my artistic understanding of everything. So that really from the get-go, that's kind of has painted, that has held a very serious place in my creative imagination.
Would you ever do a series where you needle felt an entire movie?
Oh, I would love to.
Okay.
Yeah.
It might
yeah.
kill you.
It will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I dream of doing some version of stop motion for this work at some point.
Uh-huh. Here, we'll pitch it to the people watching. If you're at home, if you're an executive watching this, please give Paula an animation contract. We want to get it for him. Now to switch gears a little bit. In school, you were a swimmer. What drew you to one of the gayest sports?
I had never in my life played a sport. And sort of showed up in first day of undergraduate, signed up for it out of the blue. Absolutely unqualified to be doing it. It's one of the gayest schools in the country. Of course I chose the gayest sport at the gayest school.
Would you say that playing a gay sport influenced all your pieces to have that camp and queer quality to them?
Absolutely.
Okay. Could you name something specifically about the gayness of swimming that comes into your work?
Well, it's something, it's in the backstroke, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you studied painting, but your art hasn't always included just painting. When did you start to feel the divergence from painting as your only medium?
I focused on painting in undergraduate, but I had always sort of toggled and experimented. I spent a lot of time using charcoal, just doing drawing, and then it was painting and photography. And it took me a while to get to sculpture, but anything with craft associations have always sort of piqued my interests.
Mm. And did the sculpture start in school or not until after you left?
Not until after I left.
Okay. Because, you graduate and then you work across multiple galleries, including a gallery at Sarah Lawerence College, correct?
Mm-hmm.
The Barbara Walters Gallery.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite part of gallery work?
I was mostly preparator. I wasn't doing sales, none of that. So I loved the sort of structured nonsense of show go up, show go down, patch walls, paint walls. Rinse and repeat forever. Yeah. I don't know. There was something fun about that. Also being behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It's good for me.
Now, did you ever drive any trucks for galleries?
Yeah.
Did you drive them in the city?
Oh, yeah.
How was that for you? Terrifying?
No, I'm a very confident driver.
Really?
But yes, not terrifying. I did knock a few, nothing serious, like rear view mirror, off another truck. It's a part of driving in New York. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But I used to drive trucks down to Miami for the fairs. So that was 3 days straight of driving and go down to the install, wait around for the week, and then drive it back up.
Yeah, I've never done that.
Very confident in a truck.
Yeah. That's amazing. And you're so confident in a truck, but you gave me so much of a hard time about today. It's really...
In a truck, I'm alone.
That's true.
Yeah.
In your truck and in your studio, you're alone.
Uh-huh.
But you have all these friends.
New friends.
New
Aww.
friends. Now, eventually you begin a series of photos where you're contorted in public. What compels you to do this? How long after does this start after school?
That that series started during school.
Okay.
So when I started toggling away from painting, it was into photography. And I think it was a desire to do some version of performance. Though I don't like being on a stage, I think there was some desire to be the main character in some version of my art form, so that was a place where I could explore that.
And why'd you stop?
I just felt that it came to its natural conclusion.
Now, you once said that the contorted positions you find yourself in are easier and more comfortable than the social situations surrounding these photographs.
Okay, oh yeah, what about it?
Just, expand on that.
Sorry, could you repeat that question?
Yeah, of course. So, you were once quoted saying that the contorted positions that you find yourself in are easier and more comfortable than the social situations surrounding the photos.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I was out there doing terrible things in public. Really sort of causing a scene all over this neighborhood, as you have seen. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I used to be a little gymnast, so always remain flexible.
Okay. And were you setting the photo, like the camera up on a tripod and then taking the photo, or was there someone who was assisting you?
I was always dragging someone around with me.
Okay. Yeah, because I was like, you'd be like totally contorted and a crackhead is stealing your camera.
Every once in a while I would try to do the self setup, but
it just wouldn't work.
Too much work, yeah.
Yeah. Now, you sold one of your works to a famous drag queen, Katya Zamolodchikova. Can you tell us about that?
It was really the first piece I ever sold. She found me online, and I'm very grateful to her for investing in that project. Yeah, she bought 2 photos.
Which one's the one that you're like in something, right? Or
it's one where I have a cone on my head, and another one where I have a trash can on my head.
Okay. How do you feel about selling your art?
I feel good about it. Okay. Yeah.
Do sales affect your process at all?
Yes and no. I mean, it's you have to be true to yourself and make what you want to make, but you also sort of have to consider what is possible in terms of sales. What you can't help but take note in what people seem to like and what they don't like.
Because you make a lot of like wall works of your pieces, which I think are probably easier to sell. Is that informing the thinking, or you just like making a wall work?
I do like making a wall work, but it is definitely informed in the thinking. I mean, I understand sculptures in the round take up real estate. It's not an easy thing to have. So making wall works just makes sense.
And do you consider like a collector with the color of your works? Do you consider how a collector would take care of them if it needs a glass box or anything?
Yes, yeah. There's a lot of fielding that concern. So they are very sturdy, very cleanable, despite how fragile they look. But if you want to pop it in a plexi box, go for it. Mm-hmm.
Real quick before we do that, you went to Sarah Lawerence during the famed scandal. Is there anything you can tell us about it?
No.
Nothing?
No.
You didn't know anyone involved?
I knew a few of the people.
Okay.
But that's all.
Okay.
All I'm willing to say on it. I'm sorry.
So, back to your art, I guess.
Yeah.
So, your favorite medium of yours, my favorite medium of yours is needle felted wool. Can you tell us what the original draw to needle felting was?
It was completely an accident. I wanted to make clothes, right?
Okay.
So I bought the damn sewing machine. I bought the fabric.
And this is after school, right?
This is after school.
Okay.
Yeah. I was looking for a hobby.
Okay.
And was so bad at it. So much math. So much planning. So confusing. Couldn't get it together. So I said, all right, I'm not doing this. How can I get what I want without any of the work, and that was needle felting. So I was like, I'm just gonna stitch the clothes. I'm just gonna make clothes out of felt. So sort of at the beginning of my experimenting with the process, I was making coats and pants and scarves and wearable things, good for no season. So hot. But within that, fell in love with it as a material and as an additive process, and it just kind of ballooned from there.
And why wool? Because you could leave them as polyester, or you could also use dyed wool. What is the draw to the ecru wool?
I love the finish that the pieces have, and you can't achieve the same amount of smoothness if it were to just be the polyester. And I wanted to keep them all white because I am trying to render them as marble statues done in a working class material. I grew up in a very poor household, so it's very important to honor that, and also to honor craft traditions that are very present in my family.
I'm just really curious what your distinction between art and craft is personally.
They are not different. It is the same thing. I think craft teeters towards things with practical uses, and anything with a practical use is then not viewed as a fine art object. Crafters are artists, and craft is art, and craft traditions should be seen as such in the gallery world.
Now, your process is super slow and meticulous. Would you say that matches your personality?
No. I make decisions on a whim, and I really sort of go for it. So it does not match my speed at all.
So would you say your art is like a haven from your normal way of being?
Yeah, it's a real way to slow down.
And you said earlier in sort of the quick question section that you do not listen to anything when you work in the studio. Is that you're not watching anything, you're not listening to anything?
I have to teeter between silence and occasionally I'll watch a movie in the background, but music doesn't really do it, podcast doesn't really do it. I really sort of prefer the silence, actually.
It was when you were working earlier, the sound of the needle felted wool is actually quite lovely.
Yeah.
It's
the
got
little tack. And
yeah.
That's how I know the pieces are close to finished, is when you start hearing that sound, because it takes a long time to get to that point.
So that's only once the wool is so compacted.
But when it's compressed enough, you start hearing that. And then
now, we've kind of talked a lot about theater and theatrics, and we know they influence your photography. How do those principles come into your sculpture, especially with your scenes, your bar scene, which I love so much?
I'm sorry, I was not even for a second listening to what you were saying. Could you please back up?
Yeah, we've just talked a lot about like theater and theatrics and how your photos are very theatrical. You're in these positions. Your whole family's super theater based. I just want to hear about how you approach theater and theatrics in your pieces, because of course a lot of them are stills from a scene, an event. Yeah.
For the bar fight scene, which was the first body of work I made in this material, I was sort of forming these little stories one piece at a time, and having that piece inform what the following would be to build out sort of the broader narrative. But the newer works are so those sort of worked as a pack together. A lot of the newer works I'm writing some version of a script for, and sort of playing within that singular moment. Sorry, yeah.
You gotta stop apologizing whenever you answer my question exactly as I asked you.
Okay. Yeah, it's just, yeah.
Now, with your photography, you're in contorted positions. Your sculptures are also almost always in some sort of contorted position. What is your draw to this exaggerated posing?
Just the big drama. The hand flailed over the head, or a long, an arm that sort of creates the motion. I think it's especially important for these works that the goal is trying to communicate some version of motion even in their stillness. So,
and were you your own first model for some of these pieces because of the photos, or?
No, I wouldn't say that.
And when you're posing these, is this just an invented pose, or are you taking reference photos?
For the poses themselves, do not take reference photos. For a lot of the character building, they do come from references.
And could you give us your best fashion headache model pose? Just your best. Period. Now, do you see yourself as a storyteller?
No.
Not one bit.
I do, but these. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna say yes. These are all so deeply personal, and these were made sort of with the goal of my own entertainment. It was a little show for me. So it's interesting feeling that now translated on the rest of the world, when I've had a lot of these for years, and they're also deeply personal stories. So am I a storyteller? I don't know. Kind of.
I think you are.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's if you think you are.
Yeah. Yeah, but I just don't want to give away the whole story.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I think some mystery is good for art.
Uh-huh.
If you tell everyone everything, then what is there to look at? Mm-hmm. Now, we talked about how you would love to make a stop motion animation. Mm-hmm. Is there another dream object or collection of objects you want to make?
Yes. Well, I have big plans, but I really want to go monumental with the scale. So it really is a push towards bigger, which for me is an important element in the craft, because needle felting is associated with small trinkets. So I think a lot of the fun is actually trying to expand its limits and seeing how it behaves at a larger scale.
What is next for Paul Latislaw? What are some blanks you want to fill in the art world?
I just want to keep working. I would love to have shows. Being able to have this space and all my materials is a big privilege, and I just want to put the time in. So I need to start there.
You heard it here first. Put your fucking head down and work. Every episode, we always get to verse where the artist that we're interviewing or the dealer says, "Put your head down and make some art."
Yeah, it's creating time and space for yourself, which is the hardest thing to come by.
Mm-hmm. Where can the audience find you online?
On Instagram.
At?
Paul Latislaw.
And your website?
paullatislaw.com. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you all for joining us. Please comment, like, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Please like, comment, and follow if you're on Spotify. Follow us on Instagram at fillingtheblankshow, TikTok at fillingtheblank, and find us online at fillingtheblank.co. Thank you so much for joining us today, Paul. Thank you for having us in your studio. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.